What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Scribbly Adapted Presents Blacksploit. I am your host, Quixote Howard. It's a little different. We're virtual. It looks like it's going to be like this for a little while, but we're doing it. We got a great show for you today, and I got a great co-host. You've probably seen her before. She is my aunt and very highly knowledgeable on all things Black, old 70s, 60s films. She's been teaching me a lot about these films. Cassandra Turner, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. Glad to be here again.
Yes,
I love this stuff.
Yeah, man. Listen, you gave me a good one this time. All of them have been good, but this one, I don't know. We'll get into it, but today we're talking about none other than Watermelon Man. Not sure if a lot of people have heard about this film or seen this film. Directed by Melvin Van Peebles, and the movie was released in 1970. So we got a lot. We got a lot to talk about because there's some things in this film, some symbols, some nuggets that we got to talk about. So, Cassandra, give us a little bit about the film itself. What it's about. If someone's going to go out there and watch it today, what can they expect from it?
It's the reverse of blackface. So what happens is Godfrey Cambridge, who was a comedian and actor back in the 60s and 70s and so forth, and the late 50s, he is a white man who wakes up one day and is a Black man. But prior to him waking up being a Black man, you could say he was teetering on being a little bit of a racist or a bigot. And it just kind of focuses on the different challenges that he faces as a Black man versus his privilege that he had as a white man, and kind of discovering that, there was that white privilege, and now you're on the other end of the spectrum of discrimination and racism. It's a comedy.
Okay, buddy, this is a hijack. Take this elevator to Harlem.
But it really, really touches on a lot of serious, social, realistic, real-time, right now issues.
Absolutely. And it's definitely a comedy. But Peebles does a great job of throwing in his own feelings on certain racial matters through his characters and through his scenes. Was there anything you found enlightening about the film? Anything that was like, wow, something that you missed probably in a first showing or first viewing of it?
I think what I probably found to be a little bit more enlightening was his wife's responses from the beginning to the end. Initially, you're like, oh, she cool, and then you realize that it wasn't even about acceptance or anything. It was really about tolerance at the time, right? But you tolerate certain things until they've actually become more real to you.
What happened to the flaming liberal I was married?
I'm still liberal, but to a point.
Anything jump out to you as far as what we're experiencing now as a country compared to what Van Peebles was expressing with his character?
We're talking about a movie that was from 1970, filmed in 1969 or whatever, and there was such racial injustice then. We're watching this movie in 2020, and we're struggling with the same racial injustice. We're struggling with the same issues, riots, inequality. It's almost like it's almost like a rebirth of some sort.
Yeah, films like this, where you do get to laugh and you do get to see something like this where the message is serious, but we're also trying to, he's making light of it in certain aspects. So, he gives us a little bit of everything. some really, really interesting performances in this film. We got Godfrey Cambridge, Estelle Parsons.
Mm-hmm.
The most, if you're a movie person, you remember her from Bonnie and Clyde.
Yep. Yep. That is her.
And I thought her performance was it was perfect.
Amazing.
We'll talk about Godfrey in particular.
Okay.
What did you think of his performance in this film? Was there anything that stood out? Was there, as far as his performance, not a scene, but what he did with the character?
What I kind of appreciated about Godfrey, I loved how he over exaggerated being a white man, right?
Yes.
I mean, just everything about it was overly exaggerated.
Mm-hmm.
He was a formidable man anyway,
right?
Who just put on a formidable performance, right?
Mm-hmm.
In this movie. He would take roles, but they couldn't be stereotypical, Negro roles.
Oh.
So when he was met with this challenge of being a black man in whiteface, he jumped on it.
I felt it was more of a slap in the face of white people because of how they portrayed us so over the top. He took it to that level to show them how I guess, how it feels to be portrayed that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
He gets the elevator scene, probably he gets on the elevator,
he was
puts
like,
his hand up to the elevator guy and says, take this elevator to Harlem.
Take this elevator to Harlem.
We're going to take a look at this trailer from Watermelon Man. Take a look, guys.
Winner and still undefeated, folks. Pay some respectful homage, please.
Fair, please.
Arrogant. They're all arrogant. In the good old days, back in the old South, you'd have to drive from back here. Get it? Back of the bus?
We're back. Hope you enjoyed that trailer. The film was released in 1970. What do you think Peebles was probably going for, or what kind of reaction you think he was going for the people back in the 70s when he released this?
He was definitely going for a shock factor. He's pretty much the father, or the father of Blacksploit.
Oh yeah.
When you really think about it, right? He's always had that kind of radical type of thought process. This movie was described as incendiary, so it was definitely one of those films that was meant to elicit conversation.
You got tired of seeing negative images of black people all the time in films. Just like that, you just said, okay, you've never done film before, right?
No. I want to tell a story.
We mentioned some scenes any scenes that stand out. One especially, him soaking in the bath of milk. Why is that representing Americana in this aspect? Like what?
Because it's white.
Because it's white, right? So
it's white. It's fluid, right?
Yeah.
It's white. It's fluid. It looks pure. It's a representation of what white should be. That explore the stereotypical ignorance, right? That has probably been passed down for generations to generations.
Right.
And it's funny, but it's also a little bit sad, because that is really what the thought process was.
At the end, he remains black.
You saw that he accepted who he is, he embraced who he was, and he became even bigger than that once he recognized who he was.
So Cassandra, any last thoughts on the film before we wrap it up? Anything that we've missed or that you want to touch upon?
I think, if you haven't had the opportunity to see the movie, it's a great film for the entire family, pretty much.
Yeah.
You know, because it's really relevant.
Cassandra, thank you as always for joining me on Scriptly Adapted's Blacksploit. Awesome. Thank you very much. We'll be back again with another show, with a new movie. We already got the movie. I'm not going to spoil it, but I can't wait to watch it because I've read about it. It sounds very interesting. sounds very interesting. So wait for that, guys. Follow us on all our social medias across the board: Instagram, YouTube, Facebook at Scriptly Adapted. Our webpage, our website, scriptlyadapted.com. Check that out. You can find some older shows, all our current shows, Artist Roundtable. Keep an eye out for that. But thank you guys for joining us. Until next time, I'm Kyode, my co-host, Cassandra Turner. Peace out, guys. Take care.
Bye-bye.